All right. After about a week or so hiatus and a couple other cars we've been working on this last week, mainly my dad's 41, trying to get it done. Power went out last time I was working on this bad boy, so I didn't get any of my patch panels welded in. So today, we're going to weld some in patch panels here, here, and here. See if we can't get some more of this holes plugged up in my 51. Move right along with it. Been fighting a little bit of a head cold this week, so I haven't felt the greatest. But it's Saturday before Mother's Day, and I'm going to get a little work done, an hour or so today, and try to get some of this done. A little more cleaning up with the flapper wheel to get ready to tack these panels in, and we'll see if we can't get something done on it. Old truck's starting to come along a little bit. Trying to hammer out on it in between working on this and Dad's cars, and got to drop the transmission out of my C10 because third gear left the 700 R4 a couple weeks ago. But let's see what we can get done. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and we'll get back in here, and I'll get you set up to where hopefully you can watch me weld a little bit and do some things. Let's see what we can get done here. Get my fingers out of the video. Zoom y'all in just a bit. Hopefully that's a good resting spot. Y'all be able to watch a little bit. So, what I'm gonna do is get in here with my flapper wheel. Got me a LED shop light, like overhead. I keep one of those loose so I can put them in weird places to see better. I'm gonna hit the flapper wheel on this and this a little bit here. A little bit more, and see if I can't clean that up some and get ready to start welding in some patch panels today. And we'll get all this in and get some work done. Should have those cleaned up pretty good. We'll get in here now with some of these and see what we can get set up. Maybe what we can do here. Hopefully y'all can see decently. But what I did last time, previous video, I made some of these. They're just little patch panels, and I'll reshape these up with the flapper wheel here real quick and get them to where they're fitting just right. We'll go from there. So I'll be back with y'all here in just a few minutes. We'll have these shaped up and fit in. Maybe I'll try to set the camera up where you can watch me do this. Just remember, safety first, kiddos. Wear your goggles, gloves, etc. Nobody needs to get hurt while building these cars. All right, so I use magnets. This one's just a handled shop magnet, pick stuff up with. But what I'll end up doing is putting this inside, in behind, and then that way from the outside I can stick the metal to it, and it'll hold it in place while I get it tack welded in. By doing this, you can work by yourself a lot. I like using the big magnet on the big holes because it holds them really well. For the smaller holes, I have just one of these smaller retrieval magnets, like this one right here. Just one of those little small ones. And that's what I normally use to hold them in place, because you can take a little piece like this, stick it to it, then you can literally stick it in place while you tack weld it. As you can see, this one don't quite fit yet, because I've got to smooth it down some and get it to fit. That one's a pretty close fit to that one. Let's see how close it is on this one. because I made 3 of these. And, well, obviously I didn't number them because that's just how I am. I know my bigger one goes to the bigger hole. We'll set it there out of the way. Got this other one here. Let's see how it fits in this one. This is a telescopic one, so you can move the magnet around. So that one fits fairly close to that one. A little big for that one. So we'll use this one here and the first one in that hole. Still gonna make one for this one, which that ain't no big deal. Doesn't take very long to make them. So we'll do that here in a few minutes. Let's get this first one shaped up. Get my goggles on. And got my flapper wheel here, as you can see, and my piece. Got my leather glove on, so if it accidentally touches a finger, don't melt my skin off, because these like skin just as much as they do metal. Now then, this is what that one started out like. As you can see, it's kind of an octagon or whatever shape you want to call it, but it's got some sharp points. So what I did was I took my 4.5 with a flapper wheel and just kind of smoothed the edges out and made it a little more round. Then we'll take our magnet here, try to get it about centered, kind of like so. We'll try it in that hole. And as soon, see there? When it'll pass through, it's perfect because we can then center it up, tack weld it in. Now then, we'll do this other one right here the same way. Get it ready, get it in that way. All right, so we'll go with my big one first, try to get it tack welded in. Got it all shaped up, almost like an egg. It's gonna go in that big hole right over here. And I'll show you when I get over there. I'm gonna use my small magnet. Big magnet was wanting to drag it back in too far, leave too much space. So, I'm gonna come over here, get to doing some welding, kick my light around here where it'll give me some good light up in, where I'll be able to see. And let me get comfortable. The leg in here, help down. As soon as I find my lead, and move my light just a bit so I can see a little better. Exactly. Bingo. So what we'll do is take this, get it just about where we want it. That way I can move it out to even, keep it all nice and tight. Then we're going to put a tack on it. And I can pull the magnet off. I've got this piece tacked right where I want it. So there's one of them tacked in a couple spots. What we'll do, pick the circle one up, move on to the next one, do it the same way. Move it over kind of close to the edge. That way you're leaving a little bit of the magnet showing. So that way it'll stick to the firewall and your patch piece all at the same time. Get it right about where you want it. Gives a couple tacks there to hold it. Then we can take a hammer, kind of tap this edge back, that edge down, smooth it out a little more. Come in here with our third one, do the same thing. Like I've said in previous videos, you never want to try to weld this up all at once because you'll warp the metal. It gets way too hot once you start getting wavy. You don't want to do that because then you're fighting a whole nother battle. So we'll come in here, do this one the same exact way. We're just about where we want it. Bingo. Now we got 3 of them tacked in. We can come back in, tack, tack, move over here, tack, 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 tack. Get it all nice and where we want it to be. That way, all these holes are going to go bye-bye. Won't get all that blow through, air, heat off the firewall. Got some more spots up here. Here I got to come back in and touch up, but that gets us a little further down the run, getting this firewall smoothed up. So I'm going to do a little more welding on all this, and then I'll be back with you. All right. So we got these 3 pieces tacked in, and knock some of the weld down a little bit. As you can see, it's not perfect by any means, but I'm not building a $1 million show truck here. I'm literally building, hopefully, a really, really nice driver truck. I like to drive my stuff. I'm not one to haul it around, set it up at shows, tell nobody to touch it, yada, yada, yada. Catch me out somewhere and you want to go for a ride in it, we'll hop in it and go. That's just the way I am. I'll turn my son loose in them, my wife, I don't care. To me, these vehicles were made to be driven, not sit around in a garage, not be driven as showpieces. So, is my welds perfect? Probably not, but it'll hold everything I need to. I got a lot of cleaning and sanding to do. This truck will have a skim coat of Bondo over it for a smooth finish. If you're lucky enough to have a body that had all these plugged up from factory and never punched, then you probably don't have a skim coat, but that's highly unlikely. So with that being said, I'm making some decent progress here, and we'll bounce around from one to another to another. I'm not the happiest out of this one right there. It's a little ugly, but guess what? By the time my motor's in there, you won't see any of that anyways, and I don't really care. It's my truck, I build them for me. I don't build them for everybody's opinion because, well, we know everybody has an opinion like everybody has a butthole. So, me doing these videos are just kind of showing you how I build stuff. Hopefully it helps you. If not, cool. Hopefully you like the content. I'm not the best at it, like I said, but here's where we're at. Most of the holes are getting plugged. Moving right along with this thing. To all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day weekend. I will be spending it with my mother tomorrow. My brother's birthday is today, so I'm working a short day in the shop, and I'm gonna go get cleaned up and go celebrate my brother getting old. But there's a little bit more, and we'll be back with you here in a bit. All right, so got 3 of them in, like I showed you. Made me another little oval one here for that hole way up there. So we'll go flip this welder on, get this one tacked in. Then we got really one more big hole to patch, which is over here. Probably can't see it right now, but that's the only other big one I've got to cut and get started to tack in. And then I can just bounce around tacking them in. I got a couple smaller holes. So let's kick this welder on, get this one tacked in. We'll go from there. I'm gonna hook my ground back up. I had to unhook it because it was in my way. So, come up here, get this bad boy positioned right here where we want it. Like I said, I like to leave the magnet just half and half so it'll kind of catch the firewall, and that gives me a level spot on one side. The other side I can kind of move this one way or another to get it level. Once you get one tack in, then you can kind of flip your helmet up and make sure you like it. I'll go on the inside, push out on that just a bit, even though it's not the greatest tack. I want that to come out just a hair. I get that edge where I want it, over here, see we're out a little bit, well, I'll put a tack there, then I can come back in, push this bottom edge back in just a bit. That way we got it where we want it. Kind of hard to mess with these little pieces because they like to move around quite a bit on you. Now then, I'll tack this right here because it's right where I want it, and then I'll take the hammer, tap that edge back down. Now, that's where I want it. So I'll take my hammer here, kind of lightly tap that edge in, put me a tack there so it don't go too far in. Now, just about the way I want it. Tap this edge down. Burn some skin off your thumb in the process. Put a tack here and then we'll let it set. Ta-da. Now then, you can then come back in with the flapper wheel now, smooth that out, finish tacking that up. That'll take care of that big hole. And that was the drain from the original vent, which I've already welded up for the most part. So, got one little hole here, a couple other little teeny tiny holes I gotta hit. Then we gotta address this here steering column hole next. Alright, so we're going to make a patch panel for that hole. So, what I've got, just a scrap piece, 16 gauge, Sharpie, and a big magnet. So what we do, I'll come around here and I'll show you, is we're going to take this piece of metal, lay it up on there like so. And then we're going to try to get this magnet to where it'll hold it there. Hopefully. That's the plan. Alright, so our magnet's holding this in place, and what then I'll do is go inside the cab, take the marker, trace me out my pattern. Now that I got that traced, lay my marker up here where I won't lose it this time because I'm god awful about it. Take the magnet off. Stick it someplace where you won't lose it also. And this is what we end up with. Little circle traced onto here. So now what I'll do is I'll go back here to my shear and I'll cut it just as close as I can get it, and then I'll bring back with the flapper wheel, smooth it up. I'll go get that cut out, be right back. Okay, so went back to my shears, and as you can see, we have us a little stop sign looking piece here, with just barely having a little bit of the line left that we drew. So now I'll get my flapper wheel over here, shape this up to where it'll fit in there. We'll magnet into place like we do all the rest of them. And that'll make that spot to be able to be tack welded in. Always wear a glove on the hand that I'm holding the metal. One, metal gets hot. Two, you don't want to melt your finger off with the flapper wheel. Second, don't ever do any grinding or cutting or anything without a set of safety glasses of some sort. You should probably wear a shield, but I don't like shields because they fog up on me. So with that being said, let's see what we can get done here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to shave this down really close to this line, and then I'll try it and see if it fits. Now then, got that pretty much in the shape we want it in, as you can see here. I'll drop it, but I'm gonna try this in place. And I'll be back with you after I get her tacked in. Okay, so here's the little patch panel piece with my magnet. We'll kick this welder on. It fits, I've already tried it. We'll get our light down here. Kind of up like so, because I like to have as much light as possible. I've got one of these overhead LED lights that I carry around to car to where get as much light as possible when I'm welding so I can see what I'm doing. Make sure your gas is on your welder. Make sure that's turned on. Get your lead over here so you're ready. And then we'll come over here, tack this bad boy in. Don't forget your welding helmet because you don't want to go blind, kids. Plus, you don't want to burn your eyes up because it is not fun. Alright. So, what I'll do, just like on the other ones, that magnet, kind of half and half. Hopefully you can see that. And what I'll do, stick that right like that, and we'll put a tack on it. Then you can pull your magnet off and work that metal however you need to. Get my lead up here. I'll try to stay out of the way so you all can see me do this. Alright, pull the magnet out of the way. You can see we're just about perfect right there. So I'll put me a tack here, maybe two on around it. Then the only thing left we'll have is this and this. Now this would have been the original brake light switch. I'm going to have a booster mounted up here somewhere because I don't like dealing with them underneath because, like I said, I like to drive mine. I want to be able to service it if I break down alongside the road somewhere. Let's see if we can get a couple tacks on that. Then we'll be done with this one for a minute. Alright, we'll let that cool down. Come back in with the flapper wheel. While I'm here with my welder, got a couple more holes here since how this one's cooled down now that I can put in. Alright, leave that one be. Got a couple spots here I can get, and I don't know if y'all can see that, and I'm sorry if not. But we'll hit that one too. Alright, we'll let that cool and come back. Don't forget to bounce around, guys. Do not try to weld it all up at once. You will end up warping metal. So, as you can see today, we made some decent progress. Got a tack in that one. We got that hole tacked in, that hole tacked in, that hole tacked in. I'll come up here and work on this one next a little more, and we'll get that one finished up. So, Project 51 coming together. As soon as I get all this semi-done, get the steering column in, then we can get this thing fitted for my motor, transmission. And as soon as I get all that figured out where it's going to fit, I can then pull this cab at some point, finish the frame up, finish the Mustang 2 front end in because it's in pretty good for now, But with the cab off, I'll be able to flip this frame upside down with the front end in it, weld up the bottoms real good, weld everything else in, box some more in here. I got to get this cross member out because it's not going to be used at all. This new Mustang 2 cross member here will be just fine. That one will be gone. I'll have a transmission cross member back there plus the boxed in frame. It'll be just fine and stout enough. I'm not building a race truck. I'm not building a show truck, really. I'm just building a driver. But I want it as nice as can be because this is going to end up being my son's truck when it's said and done. He helped me get the front end in, and I want to give him something nice to be able to drive eventually. So we're building this for longevity, easy to work on, etc. So we'll get back on it a little bit. We'll be back with you in a bit. All right, so I got a good bit more tack done in. I'm going to pull my ground lead off, clean it up with the flapper wheel, and let all that cool down for the day and move on to something else. Mainly because I don't want to get anything too hot, over warp it, anything such as that. I don't want to get in a hurry. I can come back and weld later. So, get this pulled off, throw some goggles on, maybe a set of gloves, and do a little bit of flapper wheel cleaning up now. And I'll show you what we got from there. Like I said, it's probably not the prettiest thing in the world, but once again, I'm not building a show truck, and it will get a skim coat of filler over the whole thing to make it seamless. Sounds like we're getting a little bit of rain outside. Just what we needed, as if it's not wet enough around here right now. So, get in here with this one. What I was going for. I didn't mean to knock my light over. Hopefully I didn't blind you guys. But it happens. We're going to prop that bad boy right back up. Get back in. Most of that cleaned up. I'll bring you in here and show you real quick. Get these cheap gloves off. And then I'm going to have to go to the truck and get a Red Bull. Alright. So, as you can see, we're getting her all in there. Got some more places to touch and hit. And some pinholes there and here and everything. But like I said, all this down here you'll never see once the motor's in. So I'll get all that sanded down real good and get the rest of those little teeny tiny holes filled in and we'll have this bad boy ready to start setting the motor in before long. So hopefully y'all like this content. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Not trying to make any money, but hopefully this is some educational stuff for some of y'all. And we get in here and I'll show you how we're going to close this down, because I'll get my column in, get it run down here to this joint, and then we'll close this gap of this hole down around that column to where it's pretty snug, to where all we can do is put a piece of rubber mind belting around it on the inside, have a clamp, and that'll hold it to there. And we're just going to have a very short run from here to here. Hopefully I don't have to put any bracing in it or anything such as that. I don't think I will. So let's get off here and get some more work done. All right. So while we let the firewall cool down from tacking all that in, disregard my sweaty hair, I'm going to work on getting this cross member out right here. So we got 1, 2 rivets on the bottom that we're going to have to grind off. 1, 2 on the inside, and then we'll take a punch and knock them out. Because I want rid of this. It's right in my way. I'm not going to use it. I can already tell it's going to be in the way. So we'll go ahead and get rid of it now. So, that being said, let's drink a good old yellow edition Red Bull. And we'll get started on getting that thing out. And I'll show you how easy it is to really remove those old rivets. You just got to remember, when you're grinding on them, you might be able to see one here, they mushroom out. So you got to kind of go into the original metal a little bit, and you'll see whenever you're grinding, you'll be able to see the rivet itself whenever you get to it, and you've got it ground down enough to where a punch will knock it out. And you just take a simple punch, hammer, smack, bada bing, bada boom, they're gone. So we'll do that now. And get some of that done, because if you're not working on it, you're never going to get it done. So don't be scared to jump around from this to this to that to this to whatever you need to jump around to. Kind of like House of Pain, jump around. So let's get the ye old flapper, and I'll get this ground out. I'm gonna turn y'all off while I do that for a bit. Save on the camera battery some. I'll turn you back on here in a few minutes. Show you some of the grinding process maybe, if I can get a good setup on it, and we'll go from there. All right, get y'all set up here. Hopefully you can see me grind on this a little bit. I'll show you what I'm doing. May blind you with the light for a brief second, and I apologize. But get you set there. So down here on my knees, where you can show, I'm gonna take this one off. There's 1, 2 down here on the bottom, which you probably cannot see. And then you've got one little booger. That is, where'd you go? Right here. So hopefully I can get my flapper wheel on this one. I'm gonna work on that one first, because it looks like it's gonna be the bigger of the two harder projects to get out. So I'll get my flapper, get my gloves on. That way we don't hurt ourselves. Hopefully y'all can see this somewhat. Kind of get an understanding of what's going on. Because cross members and stuff on these old trucks weren't bolted in. They were all riveted in. They're somewhat of a pain in the butt to get out. Of course, I'd unplug my flapper. We'll get the plug, get it stretched over there a little better. That way we don't have that problem again. Drop you right there. Now, not to knock the camera over as I come around. Lord knows I'm coordinated as an elephant, aka bull in a china shop is what they used to say. So hopefully y'all can still see. But we got this one, 2 on the bottom, and 1 right up in here we're going to grind off. We just use a flapper wheel, either a DeWalt. I think I'm using a Blackstone one at the moment. Just whatever brand ones we catch on sale that are real good. Sometimes I order stuff from Empire Abrasives. Sometimes we pick them up from Lowe's. Just whatever we can get them, where they're halfway affordable. I don't like using junk ones, so if you plug it in right, it works better, dummy. So what we're gonna do is I'll show you on this one first, and then I'll work on this one up in here. I'm just gonna grind this one off flat. Now, you all probably can't see it, but I can see the roundness of that rivet in the metal. And then what we can do is get a punch and a hammer, knock that one out, so forth and so on. I will turn y'all off for a minute, go get a hammer and stuff, and we'll see if we can knock that out real quick. Okay, so I got a couple punches here. They're just round punches, decent size hammer. And don't forget to wear your eye protection when you're doing this too, guys, girls, kiddos, anybody else in between, because I have taken more metal to my eye using a punch or a chisel than I have a grinder. I can normally control my grinds, can't control where stuff goes flying. If you're seeing my ugly mug in this video, I'm sorry. I ain't the prettiest thing in the world either. But I do work, and that's all that matters. So what we're going to do, we'll take this punch, kind of get it right where we want it. Don't be scared to hit it, guys and girls. It has moved quite a bit. I don't know that I'll get it all the way, but we'll see. So, we moved that one. May end up having to grind the inside of that head off, or come in here and hit this just a little bit more right here, because it looks like it's wanting to hang up. People's like, oh, you're weakening it. No, I'm not. It'll be just fine when it's all said and done. So we're gonna get this one right back on her again. And alright, so we got that one moved in a little bit. Not as much as I would like, but it's hard to get in there to get that one ate out enough. So we'll hit her a little more. And I think that's going to be weak at all. I'll come back in and weld up some. I don't think I'll have that problem. I'll switch to this little short punch. Alright, that one's going to be a booger. So I may have to go to the inside, grind it off. I've got another one up in here I'm going to get. I'll probably turn y'all off for that one because I'm gonna be all over the place trying to get to it. Well, got the rivet heads ground off that I needed. That's about all that I got time for today. It's starting to rain outside a bit. I gotta go home and get a shower and get cleaned up to go to a birthday party for my brother. We'll be back with y'all at a later date. Got all the firewall plugged today pretty good than I wanted to, so we made some decent progress. Sounds like my old man's back in his 55 station wagon, so I'll go help him get it put up. Went to a car show and evidently it got rained out, so y'all have a good one and hopefully we'll talk to you at a later date.